2-length lead on Y'all Come. Cathal now clearly into third. Earn Not Given is on the rail. And Smooth Salute has trailed throughout. Pacific Quest with a quarter of a mile to go. Cathal starts to rev up to challenge. They reach the top of the stretch. It's Pacific Quest and Cathal. The two favorites are dominant. Cathal within a length of Pacific Quest inside the final eighth of a mile. Right to him now is Cathal. Pacific Quest fighting bravely on the inside, though. Pacific Quest or Cathal. Cathal's got him late. And Cathal runs down Pacific Quest. Y'all Come third. Love the Gig. And they're off. Irish Element and Love the Gig. Now Babe Ruthless is hard ridden as Love the Gig sprints up to take the lead. Babe Ruthless wants a piece of that early tempo and is a clear-cut second around the first turn. Palo Alto is racing on the outside of Irish Element, who's in fourth, and no early speed whatsoever from Goodbye Dow. 9 lengths off the pace that is being set by Love the Gig and Giovanni Franco to the backstretch, a length and a half in front. Babe Ruthless, the prohibitive favorite, moves up alongside in second. A length back to Palo Alto in third. Then comes Irish Element, and Goodbye Dow has gotten much closer suddenly. 5 lengths covers the field. It's Love the Gig coming toward the half-mile pole, leading 3/4 of a length. Babe Ruthless in second and getting closer. Another 2 back to Irish Element, then Palo Alto, and Goodbye Dow widest of all. Moving toward the far turn. Love the Gig just in front. Babe Ruthless ratcheting up the pressure now, and Babe Ruthless is up to take the lead. Then Goodbye Dow moving steadily into third, followed by Irish Element. Palo Alto has dropped out of it. They're a quarter of a mile from home, and Babe Ruthless has a big lead now of 3 lengths. Goodbye Dow, Irish Element, as Love the Gig fades. They're coming to the 8th pole, and it's Babe Ruthless by 3. Irish Element is trying to become a threat. Pyle just looked over his right shoulder. Needs to look left. Here's Irish Element coming with every stride at Babe Ruthless. Babe Ruthless, Irish Element. Babe Ruthless just in front. And Babe Ruthless prevails over Irish Element. Then Goodbye Dow in third. And they're off. Extremely even beginning. AP again in the center is fastest. Flashy Fritz along the inside. And then it's very quiet in third, followed by Petrakos. And One Happy Dude is 7 lengths off front running AP again. The odds-on favorite in command by 2. The gray is Flashy Fritz in second. A length and a half back to Very Quiet. 2 clear of Petrakos. And One Happy Dude is asked for more at the back of the field. 3/8 of a mile to go. And it's AP again and Flashy Fritz a length away. Another length back to Very Quiet, who's making a 3-wide bid, gaining ground on Flashy Fritz now. They pass the quarter pole and turn for home. And it's AP again, cutting the corner and leading by 3 lengths. Flashy Fritz, Very Quiet. Petrakos is fourth on the inside of One Happy Dude. One Happy Dude takes fourth past the 16th pole, and it's AP again by 3. Good battle for second, but the favorite prevails handily. AP again by a length and a half. Very Quiet picked it up late for second. Flashy Fritz third. One Happy Dude was fourth. And they're off, and stumbling, losing the rider was Turkey Bird. Dancing Through Fire is going out for the lead. Syntax came away in good order and battles. And behind them, Dad's Bad Bunny in third. All in the game, Joyful Mischief is at the back of the field. They run down the backstretch, and the lead belongs to Dance Through Fire. Just in front, Syntax pressing the issue. Two clear of All in the Game down at the rail. And then it's Dad's Bad Bunny in fourth. The trailer is a hard-ridden Joyful Mischief. Less than 3/8 of a mile to go. Syntax and Dancing Through Fire continue to duke it out. Dad's Bad Bunny makes a 3-wide bid for the lead. Juan Hernandez sitting on some horse with All in the Game. It's going to decide which way to go. Angling to the outside now. They're at the top of the stretch. And Dad's Bad Bunny. Here's All in the Game on the outside. At the rail, Joyful Mischief is trying to get involved late. Syntax still battling bravely. Coming to the 16th pole. All in the Game on the outside. Syntax at the rail. Dad's Bad Bunny back to third. All in the Game or Syntax. Here's the line. Too close to call. That is extremely tight. Either Syntax or All in the Game. That could go either way. And they're off. Pura Vida Princessa is going to the front. Luby's Music is up close. Robin with a Y, third in the opening stages. Then Prestige Feng Sun racing about 4 lengths off the lead. Saucier is down at the rail, and That's All Right Mama outside that pair. Pura Vida Princessa takes him into the first turn. Keen on the front end, but leads it by 2. Luby's Music just in front of Robin with a Y in third. They're followed by Prestige Feng Sun, who has settled well in fourth, 3 lengths off the lead. 2 clear of That's All Right Mama, and Saucier at the back. Down the back stretch, and it's Emisael Jaramillo trying to harness this speed, but Pura Vida Princessa has her own ideas and spurts clear to lead it by 4. Luby's Music is second with a half-mile left to travel. 2 more, Prestige Feng Sun third, and Robin with a Y is down on the inside. 2 clear of Saucier, and That's All Right Mama. Around the far turn, Pura Vida Princessa still well clear. Luby's Music is second by 3. Robin with a Y, then Prestige Feng Sun losing ground. Saucier is next, and That's All Right Mama turning for home. Pura Vida Princessa. It's been a good trip for Luby's Music trying to pounce, and in the center, Robin with a Y. They're inside the 16th pole. Pura Vida Princessa by 2. Luby's Music still second, and Pura Vida Princessa had plenty left and takes them coast to coast. Luby's Music second, a long way to Saucier up for third, then Robin with a Y. And they're off. Subtle Knowledge gets the first call out of the gate. Play For Me wasn't quick out of there, but is very fast now, and Reckless Ride is in between those two. Trick-a-Fault is a close-up fourth, and now 4 right across the track with Tom Starr and Dancing Zella, 6 clear of Smiling Rapper, and Siempre Naman at the back of the field. Down the back stretch, it's a contested tussle on the front end. At the rail, Subtle Knowledge was passed, but comes back for more inside. Trick-a-Fault, Reckless Ride is in third. Play For Me is now 2 lengths off them and trying to re-rally and doing just that, as Trick-a-Fault is the first to bow out. Dancing Zella is in fifth, 6 lengths off the lead, 4 clear of Tom Starr. Outside of Tom Starr is Smiling Rapper there, a quarter of a mile from home. And Reckless Ride is just in front. Subtle Knowledge doggedly fighting back along the rail. And Play For Me's had a good trip trying to grind away in third. The great Tom Starr has surfaced and is closing and picking up ground. Here comes Tom Starr on the inside, but it's Subtle Knowledge. Subtle Knowledge had too much. stretch and deserved the win by 2 lengths. Tom Starr second. Play For Me third. Smiling Rapper was fourth. In the gate. And they're off in the Baffle Stakes. It was a clean beginning, too. Track Tiger bust out later than planned right across the course. Hey Nene is fourth in the early going, now passed by Cal's Goal. Down at the rail, 1 for Lou. This group is covered by only 3 lengths, and the distant trailer is Greenwich Village. Out of the dip and down the hill, and it is Track Tiger leading the way by a length. Later than planned in second. Hey Nene is down on the inside third. 1 for Lou is a joint fourth. Now about 4.5 or so off the lead. Just now passed by Bust Out, who takes that fourth spot. Cal's Goal is next, and another 3 to Greenwich Village. It's Track Tiger with a 1/4 mile to go. Later than planned, looming up alongside in second. These two are head and head as they come toward the 8th pole. And later than planned, up to put ahead in front. Track Tiger not done, battling bravely. And Hey Nene 2.5 behind them in third. They're coming to the 16th pole. It's later than planned. Hey Nene on the outside taking off. And here's Greenwich Village from dead last. Greenwich Village and Juan Hernandez up to win the Baffle. Hey Nene was second. It's a close photo for third between Track Tiger and later than planned. What an explosive rally from Greenwich Village. They're in the gate. And they're off. Clean start. And an even one, too. Stolen Treasure is out quickly. Here's Crypto Ride going straight to the front. Keating Thunder, aggressively ridden along the rail, hugs that fence and moves through to take the lead. Berlin Wall is now in between horses second. Down at the rail, Majestic Palisades in fourth. He is about 3/4 of a length behind Crypto Ride as they round the first turn. It's another 2 lengths back to Stolen Treasure, who races toward the back of the field. Down at the rail, the Gypsy Cowboy, left-hand man is there, and the gray Pass the Baton. 5 lengths covers this entire field as they run down the backstretch. And it is Keating Thunder leading past the 5/8 pole. Berlin Wall, Crypto Ride right together, and Majestic Palisades fourth, but just 2 lengths off the lead. They're followed by Stolen Treasure outside Pass the Baton, left-hand man inside of that pair, and 2 more to the Gypsy Cowboy. 3.5 furlongs left. Keating Thunder leads it by a length. Berlin Wall is in second. Early bid now from Stolen Treasure, passing horses on the outside, but caught 4 wide while doing so. As they come to the quarter pole, Majestic Palisades, left-hand man has 4 to make up, 3 clear of Pass the Baton, and the Gypsy Cowboy, they line up. Berlin Wall puts his head in front at the top of the stretch, half length in front of Keating Thunder in second. Just in behind them, Majestic Palisades. Far outside comes Stolen Treasure, Crypto Ride, and left-hand man, but Berlin Wall shakes loose and waves goodbye. Berlin Wall, an easy 4-length W. Majestic Palisades second, Keating Thunder third, tight photo between Stolen Treasure and left-hand man for fourth. Hurry and Win coming up. And they're off. Essos hopped slightly. The early lead belongs to Charlie's Curlin. On the inside, Out of the Woods comes away in second. Here's Army Man and Mendel's Tune joining the fray. Widest of all, House of Mischief, and Dinkum has some debut speed, moving up a joint second. So by the stands, and House of Mischief takes over and gets over to the inside under Kyle Frey, leading it a length and a half. Dinkum is in second. Army Man down at the rail in third. Very wide there was Essos. Mendel's Tune also fanned out a bit. And in between horses, Charlie's Curlin is 5 or 6 lengths off the lead. Out of the Woods had some trouble into that first turn, was in tight, but now by himself, racing 2 clear of Prime Artist. And Saharian is at the back of the field. Onto the backstretch, and it's House of Mischief, loose on the front end. 3 lengths advantage over Dinkum in second. Then Army Man, Charlie's Curlin is in between horses. Essos gets a nudge and moves up to take fourth. That group followed by Mendel's Tune. Out of the Woods is down at the rail, 8 lengths off the lead, 2 clear of Prime Artist, and Saharian is at the back. Rounding the far turn, House of Mischief continues to dictate terms. Dinkum on the outside in second. Then Army Man. Yellow colors in third, inching closer now. Needs to find a little bit of room, does Army Man. Another 3 lengths back to Essos in fourth. He's followed by Charlie's Curlin, and Out of the Woods there at the top of the stretch. Dinkum makes a bid at House of Mischief, leaving room for Army Man, who continues to come after the top pair. 5 clear of Charlie's Curlin. Army Man head and head with House of Mischief. Outside of them, Dinkum keeps on battling. Army Man, Dinkum, Army Man. Nice day for Jaramillo and a great ride to close it out. Dinkum was second. Third went to House of Mischief in front of Charlie's Curlin. The battle for fifth included Prime Artist.
You've heard the saying, right? Tell me that you love something without telling me that you love something. In our case today, the seminar guest, he loves horse racing. You know the reason why? He's been to 48 consecutive big caps. Think about that for a minute. Not 10 consecutive, 20 consecutive, 48 consecutive big caps. So to say that he loves horse racing would be an understatement. He also loves Sandy. I think he might have perfect attendance so far this meeting. I'll ask him that question as well as many others. His name, James Leal. James, happy Friday. Welcome to the seminar.
Thanks for having me, Tom. Good to be here.
It's great to have you. 48 consecutive big caps. Now, you're not that old. How old were you for the first one?
I guess I would have been about 8 at the time.
Came with your dad?
Came with my dad.
Who won the very first one? What year was it?
That was 77. Well, the first one I came to was 1977. That's documented. I think I came in 75 and 76, but I don't recall. But in 77 was Crystal Water.
The memory's a little hazy for those first two.
Yeah, I was a little young.
What do you remember about Crystal Water at the age of 8?
It was a Calbred. I remember he didn't like to be whipped, or hit with the stick. And he got into a stretch stool in that race, and Pinkai was the jock on him. And I remember he started to fall behind the horse that was named Fallaraki, was on the inside of him, and he started to fall behind. And Lafitte just reached back and he cracked him a couple of times. And you could see his ears kind of go forward, and then Lafitte remembered, I can't hit this horse.
And the Pinkai power took over.
And then the Pinkai power took over, and he got him right on the wire.
I asked you before the seminar, actually last night, what were your 2 favorite big caps? And you actually came back with the answers of Vigors, which of course was very historical, and also Ruhlman. Ruhlman won the big cap in 1990. Why is that one of your favorites? Now let me guess before you answer.
Okay.
He was 22-1 on the tote board. You were old enough to gamble at that point. Was that one of the reasons why you liked Ruhlman?
Actually, no. It was I actually ran second to him, that I've done a million times in this race. After 48 years, you think I'd get more winners, but I run second a lot in this race.
You should do place parlays.
Yeah, really. But the thing about Ruhlman was he had no chance on paper. He was a sprinter, basically. Mile was his
People were questioning whether he'd get the mile in the
Absolutely. Quarter. But he had the best trainer, in my eyes, the best trainer that ever walked this earth, Charlie Whittingham.
Yeah.
He, when you watch the race.
And we're going to in a minute.
Yeah, when you watch the race, the place was packed. The track was packed that day. And you're going to see the people in the infield, the cars in the parking lot. Trevor put on a great call in that race. The favorite in the race was Bayakoa, the champion mare.
I've heard of her.
That I despised in that particular race.
Criminal Type was in there?
Yeah, Criminal Type was another one in there. Lively One was another one for that Charlie had in the race, and that was the one I was on. But it was the epitome of horse racing. If you were to look at the chart of the race, it was all Hall of Fame jockeys in there, Hall of Fame trainers. It was just a great race, and a horse won that nobody thought could win.
And Ruhlman was ridden by a very young Gary Stevens, who had just recently moved his tack here from Idaho, and obviously he was riding to basically gain acknowledgement within this colony, like you said, Hall of Fame riders from top to bottom.
Yeah, and Gary was at about that point where he had really taken the next step forward to put himself up with those guys. And Trevor's call where he'll say, Gary Stevens is riding for his life. I mean, if you watch the horse, he's out of gas. But sure. Gary had made the right moves at the right time, and everybody's futilely chasing him. But I just thought it was like the epitome of what that race was. And the other thing, it was $1 million race, and at the time, the only other $1 million race was the Breeders' Cup. The Derby didn't even have that big a purse.
Hard to believe it was almost 36 years ago. But let's rewind the tape and watch Ruhlman win the 1990 Big Cap and listen to Trevor Denman describe the action.
There's the roar from the crowd, the field for the big cap, sent on their way. They all came away smoothly, and Ruhlman sprints over from that outside gate and goes straight to the lead. Bayakoa is second, Hawkster is right there as well. Present Value in the goal down at the rail. Here comes Criminal Type on the grandstand side to run up a joint second. Flying Continental races in sixth, 4 lengths off the leaders. Chris McCarron has dropped Quiet American down onto the rail. Then it's another 3.5 to Lively One, Stylish Winner, and Sant'Angelo is last, 12 lengths off the lead. 7/8 of a mile to go in the big cap. And that's Gary Stevens and Ruhlman out where they're supposed to be, leading it by 3 lengths. Racing in second is Present Value. Quiet American has pulled his way through at the rail. He's 5 off Ruhlman. Bayakoa in mid-pack, although on the outside of horses. Then comes Flying Continental. Hawkster is in that group as well. Here's Criminal Type, 8 lengths off the leader. 3 back to Lively One. Sant'Angelo is asked to pick it up on the outside, and Stylish Winner trails. A half mile to go, and Ruhlman got himself an easy lead out here. He leads it by 5 lengths. Racing in second is Present Value. Quiet American is asked to pick it up now, and Quiet American's going after the lead. leader. Lafitte Pink Eyes heading to Aspire Coa on the outside. She's going to have to do better than that. Down at the rail comes Criminal Type and Flying Continental. 5/16 to go, and Ruhlman set sail for home, leads by 6. Quiet American, Criminal Type trying to come after him. Mayakoa can find no more. She's well beaten at the top of the lane, and Ruhlman is still clear by 6 lengths. Criminal Type coming after him now. On the outside, Flying Continental. An eighth of a mile to go. Gary Stevens riding for his life on Ruhlman. They lead it by 5 lengths. Criminal Type coming after him. Lively One and Flying Continental. But it's Ruhlman holding on to it up front. It's going to be Ruhlman, the son of Mr. Leader.
James, on the far turn, people might be questioning Gary Stevens, what he was doing, opening up by 5 or 6 lengths, but that actually proved to be the winning move because he was out of gas as they turned for home, but he had a big enough lead to sustain it all the way to the wire.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard Gary say on many occasions that was one of his patented moves to try and to put a distance on the field when they would get to the stretch, and he make that move at that 3/8. Well, it's what he did with Beholder in the Del Mar Pacific Classic.
Correct.
Same exact move. He did it there. Beholder obviously was a different mare that day, but Ruhlman, he just, his cap was a mile. And to see him do that at that time, and really that race made me change the way I handicapped, because in those days I wasn't as much of a speed handicapper.
It's more about class.
It was class, and I always figured somebody's going to go up and contest the lead. There's going to be enough
$1 million
pace.
race, you figure.
And it made me really reevaluate the way I handicapped racing after that.
Early speed is very dangerous in Southern California.
Especially in long route races.
Correct.
And
The
I used to
farther
think
they go,
opposite.
also in turf races, the farther they go, the more dangerous early speed is.
Yes.
Because they can kind of walk the dog. Ruhlman didn't, but we've seen plenty of cases where the half is in 50, 6 furlongs, 1:15, and effectively the race is over.
Yeah, and the handicappers are scratching their heads like, what are those riders in the back doing? Can't they tell that this guy's walking up front? But it's what makes the game so much fun.
Speaking of effectively over, I know you're a big Dodger fan. Is next season effectively over? The Dodgers are going to win everything, including a 3rd consecutive World Series?
It's never over before it starts. I'm still licking my wounds from the Rams last weekend.
I can imagine.
But as far as people saying the Dodgers are ruining baseball, let it be ruined, because I had to suffer through the Yankees doing this for most of my lifetime. So I'm enjoying this, and I always dreamed that one day my Dodgers would be the team doing what the Yankees were doing. So sorry, everyone else, you're going to have to deal with it.
Baseball's not ruined. Just take a look at the ratings. They're through the roof. People like superstars, and certainly the Dodgers are loaded with a team full of them. We're going to find out who James likes on today's 8 race card. But before we do that, we're going to toss the microphone over to somebody who might have an easier job than me as of a few minutes ago. There was just one scratch. Track announcer Frank Miramide is going to tell us who that is. When we resume, we'll find out who James likes. Thanks so much for joining us on a beautiful Friday, needless to say, here at the Great Race Place.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. The track is fast, the turf firm, with the rail on the turf out 30 feet as we begin the week of racing. Here are the early changes. Race 1, early pick 5 begins at overweight for 3, Atina Liz, 1 pound over. In race 2, just the one blinker note, the third starts the $2 pick 6. Number 6, Lucky Nia, make the jockey William Pyle. Race 4 starts the late pick 5 and all turf pick 3. Number 5, Kigman, 1 pound over. The 5th is the first leg of the late pick 4. No changes. In race 6, number 4, Lady Lauban, 3 pounds over. 6, Big Mama Sue, 1 pound over. The 7th race starts the $5 late double. 8, Krista McAuliffe, 1 pound over. And in the 8th, scratch number 10, Smiling Tizzy, super high 5 wagering offered on the 8th. The Sunset 6 starts with Gulfstream's 8th race today. Remember, on Fridays, all-day happy hour, free admission and parking, and 50% off select beers and cocktails. Coast to Coast Pick 5 combines races from Gulfstream Park and Santa Anita Park every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. 58 minutes to post for race 1. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. His special guest and good friend on the seminar today, James Leal.
Welcome back. We're talking horse with James Leal. He's been coming to the races for close to 5 decades. He's put in the work today so that hopefully if you didn't do it, you'll be able to ride his coattails. James, you've been on the seminar a few times before, and you've always seemed to give us value type of horses, not just good prices, but good winners as well. That's kind of your style of handicapping, right? Captain Obvious is not really the way you want to go unless you have to.
That's pretty much it to a T. When I first learned to handicap, it was try and figure out how to beat the favorite. And that's how I approach every race, every card. And there's sometimes you can't, so you just take it and move forward. And, you know, a good friend of ours, Leal I used to take a small field like this first couple of races day, and I would just bypass those races.
We're what I would call field size snobs.
Yes.
Right? Leo is not.
No, he taught me how to look at a race and find the value within the race. And I would sit there in a 5-horse field and turn around. I said, how in the world did you make that much money? He goes, I just went very narrow and I hit it.
Making chicken salad out of chicken, you know what?
Yeah. And he was really good at it. So he was another one. So, but the bottom line is this game, if you're not open-minded and willing to learn and listen, you're going to die. And that's kind of what I've been doing for the past few months. You know, I've kind of taken a step back to say, maybe I need to do something a little different to challenge myself, to kind of bring the joy back, because when you do this day after day after day, you know, you lose a lot of photos, a lot of tough beats, and it can grind on you for a while. So I kind of reevaluated some of the things I've been doing, and I think you know, it's going to be prosperous in the long run.
And I think that's one reason, James, why so many players like playing in the tournaments as well, right? Effectively, there's no takeout. You only have to beat the field that's in the tournament, and the prizes are lucrative. We've got a couple tournaments coming up, not this Saturday, but a week from Saturday. The $1,500 super low ratio NHC qualifier. You know the leaderboard is going to be tight and compact because it's just $50 win place. Players are gravitating toward that for the very exact reason that you just mentioned.
Absolutely. And even within the tournament play, you have to be selective, because there's been days where I've looked to play a tournament and I said, I don't like a horse today that I could really focus on. So I think I just, those days I'll back off because I don't like anything. And it's the way I've always tried to dissuade my friends from saying, if you don't like a sequence, don't play it.
Correct.
Don't feel like you have to play it.
Right.
There's other things to play. And two of the bets that I really gravitated to is the $5 late double and the $3 late pick 3.
And the reason is
great value, low takeout, and the payouts are great.
Correct.
You know, and you're foolish not to be taking advantage of those.
And you look at the parlay, right? The payoff in these multi-race exotics with the high minimum and low takeout far exceed the parlay naturally that you would get. And more players are, I think, picking up on that, because as you look at the pool sizes, and all of us can do this, just looking at the charts, the pool size is starting to increase because it's the ultimate get-out bet. We're on the West Coast. Most of the action has died down around the country. The only way you can get out by betting a little to win a lot is in these multi-race late pick 3 and daily doubles that we're talking about.
Yeah, and the one thing I really wish that all the tracks do, I'm not going to point the finger at any one specific one, everybody gravitates towards a 50-cent pick 5. Yeah. I really wish the pick 4 would be changed to $1.
Here.
Because, you know, like Los Alamitos has kept it as $1, and their payouts way supersede what they should pay. Correct. Because of the dollar denom. And when the pick 4 was first introduced, it was $1, and those payouts were incredible.
I agree, James. Here. Higher minimums are certainly the way to go. Hopefully, racetrack management is listening. I know people are listening, James, to find out who you like on today's card. So let's go through the 8-race card. Kicking things off in race number 1, where we're going 1 mile on the main track. This race is for maiden claiming. 3-year-old fillies in for a $32,000 tag. Race 1 also begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. The current betting choice on the board at 4-5 is the 3-year-old filly on the bottom, number 6, Authentically, from the Val Brinkerhoff barn. 6 ways you can go here. Which way you going and why?
Well, it's kind of hard to get past the favorite in this race. 6 horse is Authentically. That filly is the only Kentucky bred in this field. They're all Calbreds,
Yep.
aside from her. She's dropping from the sky basically into this spot. So she's going against open, straight maiden races. Now she's dropping in against Calbreds to the bottom level. So I think she's going to be awfully tough if she handles the dirt at all. Her only race was at Indianapolis back in as a 2-year-old, and she got buried that day. But I just have to think that she's going to just have an advantage in this field. But it's not a race. We talked about value. 4-5 is not a race where I'm going to go line up to get in, the window to make a play on this horse, but she will be used. And the second horse I have in this race is the 2-horse Can You Dream. A friend of mine trained her mother, and so I followed her offspring.
The mother's thrown a really nice mare as well. You happen to know who it is?
Yeah, it's Chismosa.
That's correct.
Who she was distance limited, so that one makes me think this one might be. Although Acclamation, this horse's father won at 1.5 mile races, so we'll just have to see. But this is more of a sentimental pick. I just don't know if this filly has a lot of talent, but she's certainly running for a good owner.
Besides the sentimental reason why you picked number 2, Can You Dream, for second, James, is also the other 5 inside runners, as you mentioned, who are all Calbred. They're also going 2 turns for the first time. Sometimes the horse's first time around 2 turns can be their most effective race.
That's correct.
Let's take a look at race number 2. That begins the 50-cent early pick 4. In race number 2, we are sprinting 6 furlongs of the turf course for fillies and mares. $25,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 races lifetime. We've got a field of 5. The 7-year-old mare, number 3, Special Flower, is the 7-5 morning line favorite. Before we get your thoughts on the race, James, you wanted to have us watch a replay. 3 of the 5 runners in this field exit this replay we're about to watch. It was back on January 9th. Specifically, the 3 runners exiting this replay are number 1, Shamrock, and number 3, Special Flower, and number 4, Cypress Moon. From my standpoint, I believe the mare we should be watching in this replay is the one drawn on the far outside. She's going to be wearing saddlecloth number 10, and that's number 1, Shamrocking today. If you look at the trouble notes in the PPs, you can see that her saddle slipped early on. You're going to be able to visibly see that in this replay. I thought she ran very well while being caught wide every step of the way, but you be the judge. Let's listen to Frank Miramati describe the action back on January 9th and watch Shamrock and break from post position number 10.
And they're off. A real jewel hopped in the air at the start. Shangri-La is out very quickly. Here's Cypress Moon coming through faster, and Cypress Moon now takes the lead. Tamsville Angel pressing the issue through the opening stages. Special Flower joins the fray. Third, and now Shangri-La, who broke on top, is fourth. Gypsy Woman is eager in between horses, has just a few lengths to make up and down on the rail. Lovin' on the Run is in striking range too. Ovita's Hobby and Shamrockin' are next. At the back of the field, a real jewel and Big Mama Sue around the far turn, chasing Cypress Moon. Cypress Moon has a 2-length advantage. Lovin' on the Run's had a good trip. Now angles off the rail to try and challenge for the lead. Tam's Little Angel, Special Flower, another 3 back to Shangri-La, top of the lane, and Lovin' on the Run is up to take the lead. In the middle, Shangri-La trying to come back for more. Extreme outside, Shamrockin' is flying, but running out of time. Lovin' on the Run, 3-length lead, and Lovin' on the Run. Enormous day for Team O'Neill.
James, there's our friend number 10, Shamrock, and crossing the line with the yellow helmet on the far outside. You can still see Tiago Pereira, her jockey that day, still looking down at the saddle. I thought that was a way better than looked effort if you just look in the past performances, and now they switch over to Hector Barros. I think you agree.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing to take out of the race is the 4-horse in this race, Cypress Moon. She had a clear lead, and when she stopped, she acted like she didn't want to go keep running. So she stopped. She literally stopped. And the 3-horse Special Flower, who comes into this race off some good works, she really didn't have much of an excuse either. And so when I looked at those two as the 9-5 and 7-5 morning line choices, and you compare that to the trouble that Shamrockin had out of the same race that you already highlighted, and the fact that I get Hector Barrios, who I consider to be one of the top grass riders on this circuit. And this funny with this horse, her debut was so electrifying, her late kick. It's not on the PPs any longer.
It was a big price, right?
She was a first-time starter.
I want to say like 50 to 1.
Something like that. And I'm sure her trainer was very happy that day. But that kick still sticks in my mind. And I've always thought this filly is just got a great kick if you keep her sprinting.
1 and 3 in race number 2. So says our seminar guest James Leal. On today's 8 race card, the $2 pick 6 begins in race number 3, and we kick off that wager sprinting the abbreviated sprint distance of 5.5 furlongs on the main track. Maiden claiming fillies and mares in for a $20,000 tag. Mick the jockey on number 6, Lucky Nia. William Pyle, number 2, Tupelo from the Edwin Alvarez barn is the 9-5 morning line favorite. Give us your thoughts on race 3, James.
Yeah, I think this is a race where I'm not going to be surprised if I'm wrong or if I'm right. It's one of those races.
Kind of like a chaos race.
Yeah, it is really. And there's a couple of long shots in here that I give no chance, and usually those are the ones that pop right up and get you. But I went to the 5-horse East Polka Kibbutz, and the horse has only had 2 races, being the third one. She's a 5-year-old mare, which I don't like. She's only had 2 races. They paid $140,000 for her, so obviously giving her away for 20 is not showing a lot of confidence. But the fact she showed speed first time out, and then second time off of the layoff wasn't a bad race. I just kind of leaning towards her, and I do like in a small field going to sprint. I do like a horse on the outer post positions typically. And that's kind of why I landed there. But there isn't anything in this race that's going to surprise me. The 2-horse Tupelo, who's had some good races or had a good workout, there's only really had 1 race that I think threatens to win this race, and that's when it was under trainer Michael McCarthy. Horse has since been claimed, and last time was thrown to the wolves and just didn't compete there. But so I think that horse. But the second horse I picked was the one can't deal with it. Had 2 races at Oaklawn after starting a career out here. I don't think this horse is going to qualify for the ship and win. So. I don't see any advantage there. Horse is drawn on the rail. Again, this race is just not going to surprise me anything that happens here.
Race number 4 begins both the 50-cent late pick 5 as well as the $3 all turf pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout. We kick off both wagers in race number 4 on the turf course, 1 mile the distance. Maiden claiming 3-year-olds in for a $50,000 tag. I should say today the turf rails are positioned at 30 feet. We've got a field of 7. Number 1, Biggie is the 3-2 morning line favorite for trainer Doug O'Neill, adding Lasix for the first time in his career. Once again, James, before we get your thoughts on the race, we want to watch a replay. This replay features 2 runners in this particular field. It features Biggie, as well as number 5, Keegman. Keegman is going to break from post position number 2. Biggie is going to be wearing saddlecloth number 10. As we watch the replay, they're basically going to be positioned right next to each other. Biggie is going to have the yellow silks, and Keegman is going to ride the rail throughout. Keep in mind, this was a maiden special weight race. Now they drop down in class. They both add Lasix. In the case of Keegman, he is also putting blinkers on. So it's interesting to see maybe the drop in class will wake them up. But you be the judge. Let's listen to Frank Miramai describe the action back on December 29th and watch the runners wearing saddlecloths number 2 and 10.
And they're off. Charlie's Curlin in the center of the course. Breaks smartly, and Keegman is coming through along the rail. House of Mischief in between is quicker than both in the pace. Extremely honest. Here's Medici moving up into second behind House of Mischief. Then Biggie, who's in between horses as they move into the first turn. Going wide there was Essos. And down on the inside of those rivals, we have Charlie's Curlin. Keegman is now about 5 lengths off the lead, and he's swinging on to the backstretch with the leader still, House of Mischief. So House of Mischief is in front, leads it by 1 length. Medici is racing in the second spot, racing 2 clear of Essos in third. Charlie's Curlin is fourth, heading to the half-mile pole. Then comes Biggie, who's racing in between horses. Rio Grande on the outside, and Keegman has been shuffled back consistently, losing ground steadily into the far turn. At the back of the field are Mendel's Tune. Mendel's Tune is more than 10 lengths off the lead, rounding the far turn. In front of him is Saharian and Neza outside of them. It's House of Mischief coming to the quarter pole, hounded throughout by Medici, who's had a smooth trip in second, trying to get by this front runner, House of Mischief, who turns for home with a half-length advantage. In behind them, Charlie's Curlin has been tucked in, will angle out into the three-path for the final eighth of a mile, where Medici is within ahead of House of Mischief. Medici, House of Mischief, nose to nose, followed by Charlie's Curlin. Keegman trying to launch a late bid. It's Medici with a slight lead, but House of Mischief won't go away. Medici, another for Mirko de Muro. As Medici confidently handled throughout, beats House of Mischief.
James, the winner that particular afternoon, Medici, resides in the Richard Mandela bar. No one was going to beat him that particular day. As I mentioned in the intro, Keegman and Biggie both take a drop down in class. Sometimes in the case of Keegman, riding the rail is a good news, bad news scenario because you're certainly saving all the ground, but you're also prone to trouble. And it was a bit subtle, but Keegman did have some trouble entering the far turn.
Yeah, he was side by side with Biggie, and as they head into the turn, he starts to have to steady slightly because of the horse in front of him, but it probably cost him a couple of lengths. And you're right, he wasn't going to beat the winner that day, but he certainly was cost a better opportunity. Nothing that anybody interfered with him. He just the trouble cost him.
Yeah.
He probably is a couple of lengths closer. But when you look at in this particular race, you look at the morning line. He's a much more favorable option than the one horse Biggie, and also the jockey on the 5-horse William Pyle. He got his first win this past weekend, and he looks good on the horse. He really does. And I believe he's a European rider.
He is kind of like the Flavien Prat angle from many years ago. He's just coming over here to vacation during the winter, but he's got ability.
Yeah, he does. So again, and his trainer Papa Bodromo, he's had a great meet so far, and he's been on a tear for the last 6 months. So I'm just going to kind of ride that wave. Not that Doug O'Neill has not been on a tear, because he has been as well.
And the jockey, Jaramillo.
So, but for purposes of this, I'm going to use the other O'Neill. We've heard that the other Baffert. So I'm using the other O'Neill to run second, just trying to get a little value. And one other horse I want to point out in this race is number 6, Dream Rider. He has 2 awful races on paper. Both of them were at dirt. Both of them were at Losal. I don't do well when I go to Losal, so I figure this horse might not either. Long on the turf, he's not bred for it, but his trainer, I just can't believe that Neil Drysdale would hold on to a horse that has 0 ability. So he's going to be a long shot. I'm going to throw on my ticket.
12-1 on James's long shot in race number 4, number 6, Dream Rider. And you mentioned Classico. It's not in the racing form, but that last effort that Classico ran in, where it was a maiden 50, the winner, Kid Charlemagne, actually was a maiden special weight dropper. So a little bit better than what it might appear on paper. Let's turn the page, James. Take a look at race number 5. Begins the 50-cent late pick 4. We're sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track for fillies and mares. Non-winners of 2 races. Lifetime is the condition. $10,000 is the claiming tag. Field of 6, Number 2, Aloha Dreaming, who you mentioned, Indianapolis or Indiana Grand earlier, also raced at Indiana Grand, now dropping down to the $10,000 level for trainer Bob Hess. Even money on the tote board. You going to swallow the chalk here?
No chance.
Okay.
I'm going to go next door to the other Bob Hess. Again, the other, and the one horse Morgan's Bluff. This horse is drawn on the rail, which I hate, cutting back from 2 turns, which I dislike, going the short distance. But a friend of ours, Kurt Hoover, told me this years and years ago. We were looking at a race it was just impossible. And he said, one angle I like to use is I just go to guys who win races, trainers that win races. Now, in this case, Bob Hess wins races. He trains both of those 2 horses. But Kent Stormo's been his money guy for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of letting Bob Hess lead me to where to go with this one. Again, no conviction. I will have to use both Bob Hess's horses, and I'll probably have to use the Craig Lewis horse as well. But again, this is one of those races that I don't plan on getting too involved with.
Race number 6 begins the aforementioned $3 late pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout. We kick off that wager in race 6, traveling 1 mile on the turf course, $20,000 claimers, fillies and mares. A good field of 9. Maury line favorite down on the rail for the aforementioned Bob Hess. Number 1, Candy Bar, 5-2 on the Maury line. Bob Hess daily double here, James?
No, but I think that horse is obviously live. It's a big drop for this horse to come into it. Again, I don't like when horses spit the bit when they're on the pace or showing pace, and then they just, when the time comes to run, they just don't. And this one was one that didn't. Now, this horse was pulling, was in between horses, was never comfortable. But I'm going to a horse that's just kind of the old favorite of mine, Big Mama Sue, an 8-year-old mare. She's won 7 times at Santa Anita. Georgia. She's also won 4 times on this turf course. Here's our jockey again, William Pyle. This is the horse I'm going to kind of center my day around, hoping that she feels like running today as an 8-year-old. You know, I'm not 8, but I'm pretty close when it comes to horse years. You know, I don't feel like doing things on certain days. And I think last time out, it was just wasn't her day. It was a sprint. I think they're using it as a prep for this race.
And off a long layoff.
Yeah, off a long layoff. And the interesting thing I wanted to point out is the 9 horse, this Dia Matrona. One of the reasons I did not pick this horse is because of her posts. She's in the 9 hole with the rails at 30 feet, which traditionally outside post positions don't do well, and closers don't do well from this outside post position. So, you know, with that in mind, I think she's actually going to be the favorite. I don't know that I agree with the morning line, but with the trainer and the jockey combo. And the one thing I want to say is when we were talking about Ruhlman in those days with all those Hall of Fame jockeys, when you were on one of the main contenders in a race like this and you had a negative post position, those jockeys were not going to do you any favors. You weren't getting over.
Up the rail.
There was no chance. And today's riders will just say they're a lot more friendly to each other. But in the old days, if there was 6 other Hall of Fame riders in this race, the horse would be in the parking lot all the way around. They would never let her in. And if she did get in, she would have had to drop all the way back to last and really take the worst of it. That's the one difference that I had to get used to, because there's times where 11, 12 horse on a mile race in Del Mar and here, those horses are winning, and it's because the jockeys on the others are just letting them do whatever they want to do. And the good jockeys are taking advantage because they know the other guys are letting them do it.
It's a brave new world, isn't it, 30-some years later? Angel Cordero would have never allowed that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no chance.
One other note on a runner that James touched upon in race number 6, Dia Matrona, you can see is in for the waiver claim. And thanks to Jeff Munson and the San Anita Racing Office and the San Anita website, we discovered that there was a change in rule that wasn't publicized. Certainly I wasn't aware of. In the past, it used to be 6 months, a 6-month layoff in terms of whether or not the horse was eligible for a waiver claim. It has been recently changed to 4 months or 120 days. So that's why Dia Matrona is eligible for the waiver claim today. Race number 7 begins the $5 late daily double with a reduced 15% takeout. We're sprinting 5.5 furlongs in the main track. Maiden special weight, 3-year-old filly Calabreds, another good field of 9, morning line favorite down on the rail. Good Golly, Tis Molly, a half to the Chosen Vron from the Ian Kruljack barn, 3-1 on the morning line. Before we get your thoughts on the race, James, one more replay to watch, and this would be the replay in this race that both Good Golly, Tis Molly, and number 3, Goji exit. It was back on December 29th. Once again, Goji is going to break from the rail. Good Golly, Miss Molly is going to be wearing saddle cloth number 3. The thing that I saw watching this replay, once James requested it, is how patient Hector Barrios was early on in Good Golly, Tis Molly. I have a feeling that was an educational run. Today could be the day where he's a bit more aggressive early, but you be the judge. Let's watch Goji and Good Golly, Tis Molly compete. They break from post positions number 1 and 3, and Frank Miramati will describe the action.
And they're off. And Gauger has sharp early speed, but there are several vying for command, including a Great Shaking who's up to take command, and Billie Holiday now second. Gauger at the rail in third, and Meridian May fourth, 4 lengths off the lead, 2 clear of Good Golly, Tis Molly, and Go-Go Tiz at the back, some 7 lengths off front running a Great Shaking, who shows the way toward the 3/8 pole, leads it by 2. Billie Holiday is a clear-cut second, and down at the rail, Gauger, Meridian May, third and fourth. Good Golly, Tis Molly is fifth, 5 lengths off the lead, and another 4 back to Go-Go Tiz. They're coming to the quarter pole, and here's Billie Holiday on the outside, and Billie Holiday takes the lead at the top of the stretch, leads it by a half a length. The Great Shaking is all out in second. Out in the center, Meridian May is finishing with some interest, and Good Golly, Tis Molly with good strides, splitting rivals nicely and taking second, has to get to Billie Holiday, and no one's doing that. Billie Holiday is long gone under Armando Ayuso. Billie Holiday scores by 5.
James, we were just talking about the old school jockeys. Well, that certainly was an old school ride in terms of debut. Very educational type of ride. Didn't show any early speed, stuck between horses, got dirt in her face, kind of had to split horses late. The only concern maybe that handicappers would have is that particular replay we watched was at a distance of 6 furlongs. Today is 5.5. Maybe she wants more distance, even though her sibling, the Chosen Vron, was obviously a talented sprinter.
Yeah, she just looks like a filly that will get better with distance to me. Looking at her stride, doesn't doesn't mean she can't win today because
Sure.
she obviously has talent. The horse that I went to in this race is the number 6 horse, Tate Batts, out of the Doug O'Neill barn, who's adding the blinkers off of a good debut run where she was basically even money. She was 6-5 that day at Del Mar, and she ran a winning race. This is the horse that beat her, just freaked that day, Dottie Hinson. Who and I know you're not a movie guy, so I would never ask you who
No
Dottie
chance.
Hinson is.
No chance.
But
never even heard of the name.
yeah, exactly. But this filly really ran well that day in debut. Blinkers back on for round number 2, and good works in tow. I love this fact that Mike Smith is on this. To me, when Mike Smith is on a filly, I don't know why I just tend to gear my views towards horses with him on it.
He gets along with the fillies.
I guess so. Both.
Yeah, exactly. Zenyatta comes to mind.
Yeah, she's a good one. Songbird. He did Songbird as well.
Sure.
So, but Mike Smith on this filly, I love the fact that Doug has put this horse under his care for this race.
So enlighten me. Who is Dottie Hinson?
Dottie Hinson was one of the star female baseball players from back in the day during the war when they had all women's.
So a Nick Alexander
baseball
runner,
league.
I assume.
Yes,
That'd be my guess.
Yes,
That would be my
yes,
guess.
it is. Yes,
Nick
it is.
does a very good job, doesn't he, naming
Yes,
some of
it
his
is.
runners? He goes back in the history books and recognizes a lot of people, including myself, of famous figures that I've never heard of before.
Whenever I see, in the same race, number 8, Krista McAuliffe is a Nick Alexander horse, and for those of you who don't know, she was one of the astronauts that perished in the Challenger disaster, which we just passed the anniversary. I was a senior in high school when that happened. I'll never forget it as long as I live. And Krista McAuliffe was a teacher that was on that flight that lost her life that day.
I do remember that, unfortunately. Race number 8, we close out the day. We close out the card, offering $1 super high five wagering. Back again on the turf course, 1 mile the distance. It's a starter allowance race. The condition is started for a claiming price of $16,000 or less, either last year or this year. Scratch the also eligible. The only scratch on the card still leaves us with another good field of 9. Number 6, Trusty Rusty from the Bob Hess barn. Wow, Bob Hess could have a really big day today. 9-5 on the morning line with Juan Hernandez in the saddle. Give us a winner to close it out, James.
Trusty Rusty obviously looks like one of the main contenders in this race, but what I first thing I always looked at, he's 0 for 6 on our turf course here. He's obviously a very good horse on our dirt course, but I just kind of thought, I just can't take him as the favorite with that stat staring me in the face. So I go to a horse that's 1 for 21 on the turf course, right?
What could go wrong?
And what could go wrong? This is one of those races, again, that I think is great betting opportunity. The 3 horse Mongolian Apple stopped to a walk last time, but that horse has a chance. But, again, go to where guys are winning races. Martin Valenzuela, the trainer of number 2, he's had some wins this past year. I got probably the best turf jockey in the race. So I'm told on his day, he'll run a big race. And I'm kind of hoping today's the day for him. And the other horse that I went to is the 8 horse Druidic. He's going to be a price. He just kind of grinds along. And he's going to be a horse that I'm going to focus on in the super high 5. We like to play that, once a day, and we try and find horses like this that'll come up and clunk up and get 3rd, 4th, 2nd, something where in there. Hopefully we can play around it and hit that bet.
2 and 8 to close it out on today's 8 race card for our seminar guest horse player, James Leal. James, you've seen 48 consecutive big caps. I hope you see another 48 to come. I'll take the under on that, but nevertheless, thanks so much for your time and insight today. Honored to call you a friend and look forward to spending the weekend with you.
Great to be here, Tom.
Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Keep in mind, there are 2 more wagers to consider on today's wagering menu. The $1 coast-to-coast pick 5 with the $1 minimum, low 15% takeout. That combines 5 races from both Gulfstream Park and Sandy, and also the $1 Sunset pick 6. Have you seen the payouts on both of those wagers, particularly last week? They were astronomical. The $1 Sunset pick 6 logically combines the last 3 races from Gulfstream Park with the last 3 races at Santa Anita. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you have a great afternoon. Get lucky, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. Track conditions are brought to you by John Deere. The track is fast, the turf is firm, the rail on the turf out 30 feet. In the first, number 3, Atina Liz carries 1 pound over. In the second race, no scratches. Race 3, number 6, Lucky Nia, make the jockey William Pyle. The third starts the $2 pick 6. Race 4, $3 all-turf pick 3 on races 4, 6, and 8. Late pick 5 begins with the 4th as well. Number 5, Keegman, 1 pound over. No changes in the 5th. The 6th kicks off the late pick 3. 4, Lady Lauban, 3 pounds over. 6, Big Mama Sue, 1 pound overweight. In the 7th, number 8, Krista McAuliffe, 1 pound over. And in race 8, scratch 10, Smiling Tizzy, super high 5 wagering is offered. Sunset 6 combines races from both Gulfstream and Santa Anita Park, the last 3 every day, and the Coast to Coast Pick 5 every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Today it starts with Gulfstream's 9th race at 1:19 Pacific. Enjoy Free Friday here at Santa Anita Park. They'll be at the gate for race 1 in 27 minutes at 12:30.